Qcity. Thank you so much for joining us. We are just waiting for some more guests to join in, and then we'll get started. In the meanwhile, please feel free to socialize with each other, network as much as you can. Thank you so much once again. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. All good. So good to see you. Long time. Yeah, yeah. All things all well. Going on.
He's the founding member.
What is the name of the forum? Just CFO forum?
The CFO for it.
CFO forum.
Acha,
Okay.
Malaji will be moderating, so Ravi should give the introduction
Yeah.
with their profile details.
Okay.
We'll just
No, I think.
No.
I think. No. So what I will do is I'll just do the introductory part. I'll welcome everybody. Give it to Mala.
Yeah.
And then Mala, you will be taking care of the rest of the
You
event.
can use this on a profile,
Okay. Okay. Now, just tell me about the panel.
all the panelists.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, may we have your kind attention, please? I would request one and all to kindly settle down. We are still expecting some more people to join us. Some of them are on their way. So as they join us, I think it's time for us to kickstart the event. Thank you once again for joining us for this glorious event. This is an initiative to bring some of the best minds together. If you can slightly increase the volume. Can the ones sitting behind hear me? Yeah, perfect. All right. If I could have your attention for a bit. See, the people seated over here are the most important people for every single organization because I am a management student myself and I was always told that finance is the backbone of any organization. If finance is not in place, nothing else is in place. Your product could be as beautiful as it is, everything else could be great, information would be everywhere, but if you don't know how to manage your finances, you're nowhere. So by far, you're the most important people for the respective organizations that you're a part of. And on behalf of CFO Forum as well as Qcity, this wonderful IT park that has been here for a fairly long time and who have kindly agreed to play host to this glorious event, I would like to welcome all of you. Thank you once again for joining us. My name is Ravi Kumar and I'm a lesser model compared to all of you. I'm nowhere close to the amount of experience and the science that all of you apply in whatever you do. But I'm here just for comic relief and just to provide you some entertainment. That apart, I would like to introduce the lady who will actually drive the show for all of us. She's the moderator this evening. Her name is Mrs. Mala Paropkari. Let's all put our hands together for Mala. She's currently the CFO at Reddy Ventures, fund with AUM of $1 billion US. She has been in senior roles at Lotus House, GVKPIL and many other companies. She is an IRS officer of 1990 batch and is an MBA from ISB. She doesn't need any further introduction. Mala, all yours. Thank you so much.
All kindness, Ravi. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, lovely to be here. For a long time, Ramakant Bhai has been at least trying to pull this off for the last 2 years. So, one of us is like, no, next week, week after this. And finally, I think it's all thanks to this kindness of this young gentleman here that, yeah. Okay, so I won't waste any more time. So let me introduce our first speaker. Okay. So our inaugural address is by Mr. Robin Banerjee. He's the MD and CFO of Caprihans India Limited. Earlier, he held several multinational global leadership positions in global corporations, including Hindustan Unilever, ArcelorMittal Germany, Thomas Cook, SR Steel, and Suzlon Energy. He's a chairman CII Maharashtra for Finance and Taxation Committee and co-chairman Western Region for ESG Committee. He's a member of the Board of Studies for Independent Directors, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. He's also on the board of SME Chamber of India. So thanks, Robin, for taking time off to address this small but important gathering. And I welcome you to deliver the address. So I think he's on virtually. So will he be reflected on the screen? So this is kind of impromptu. We really don't know what they're going to speak on, each of them, because it's all been put together, but yeah, we welcome it.
Yes, Robin, just a quick interruption. Ravi here. Earlier you were on mute from that side, but now we can hear you nice and loud and clear. So you can start all over again. I think the golden words that you started with, we are waiting for those again.
CFO Forum, in short. Thank you, Ramakantji, for putting it all together after a long, long time, as was told. I'm not going to give you a big speech. I don't wish to do so. Each one of you are more experienced than me. But if I have to speak about what happens in this current world, which is changing fast, where um, where a demon, I don't know, it's a demon or a god called ChatGPT has come into the picture, and either they're threatening our jobs, many of our jobs, or perhaps some people are saying that it's going to add immense value to the civilization. It could cut both ways, and therefore, I believe with this so-called artificial intelligence, which is coming into the picture, the world has changed significantly. Each one of you know, as I said, much more than I know, but I just want to pick up quick 5 steps, which perhaps the finance community, whether we are CFOs or vice president, president, accountant, tax, tax managers, auditors, whichever hat we are wearing, I believe we would all be exposed to about 5 steps. Quickly, a few sentences on that, if you allow me to speak on these topics. So let's take an example. Let's take 2 little stories. I'll try to tell you some stories because that's make it life a little more interesting than giving a bhashan, because I have no right to give you a bhashan. I am not a politician come here to give you a long speech. About 2 weeks ago, I saw a news item that BMW, you have heard of this car company called BMW, has stopped manufacturing EV cars. And as you know, the world is spending billions of dollars, investing billions of dollars, if not trillions, on the EV ecosystem. Assuming for a moment you're the CFO, the finance guy, or the entrepreneur yourself, investing heavily and going into the future with EV technology, suddenly you realize, you see a news item that one of the topmost car companies has decided they will not make EV cars anymore. Of course, the question obviously you will ask, what is it that they are going into? They are getting into hydrogen fuel. Now, if you are the finance head or the CEO yourself, just imagine that your business plans therefore could go completely haywire if the technology or the basic purpose on which you are trying to structure your business perhaps doesn't exist anymore. It's a huge thing. I'm not too sure how many of you are aware of this, but it is true that BMW looks to have discontinued making EV cars. Another quick story, which you may or may not have heard, in the world today, the most sought after mineral, not the most expensive, but one of the most sought after mineral is neither gold, not platinum, nor silver, but it is lithium. Now, lithium was priced even a year ago, $100,000 per ton, $100,000. And assuming for a moment that you are a CFO or the finance guy or entrepreneur who is the company who makes or mines lithium minerals. This material, which was costing about $100,000, between $80,000 to $100,000 a few months earlier, today it's worth $20,000. The price of lithium, the most sought after mineral, has fallen by 80%. You don't need to do a Google auntie as of now, but if you do see your graph, you will see the graph is coming down disproportionately. Now think, if you were a consumer of lithium, just imagine what happens to your end product. You suddenly got your input item, which you were not getting your access to, the fallen by 80%. Will your pricing change, profitability change? Perhaps yes. If you were a lithium mineral company, what happens to you is $1 million question. The answer is, why did it happen? It has happened because China, which used to buy 50% of the lithium, has stopped buying lithium because there is no demand. The EV cars are not selling anymore. And you know the Tesla is in deep problem because of his EV car prices. He's not able to enhance the prices and products are not selling as much as it used to be and whatever he was manufacturing. But another country called Australia, which exports 40% of the lithium of the world, they're in deep trouble because lithium prices have just gone awry. Now, what is it that I'm trying to talk to you about is risk, R-I-S-K. Risk management, ladies and gentlemen, has become so significant in this world of business is unbelievable, unbelievable. Just imagine, I know I'm talking a little too much, perhaps. Just imagine you are the CFO of Paytm. Now, this is the public domain. You are the CFO, the finance guy at Paytm. You knew that things are, RBI is asking some questions. They are asking you to get with better governance. But I'm quite sure if you were the CEO, CFO of that company, you wouldn't have imagined that overnight RBI can actually withdraw the permission to be a Paytm bank. Just imagine the business model overnight changes. Maybe the risk management wasn't good, or risk management wasn't good enough, and I'm sure that was not good enough. And just see what has happened to the organization. The second area which I would like to risk is obviously the profound area. Another area which everyone talks about, the CFOs are supposed to be talking about governance. I don't know whether the governance is a very important word, but to my mind, corporate frauds are. Fraud is a huge, huge problem in this world. The largest and the largest of the organizations go under because of fraud. And now I will just take some old examples or old stories because that's all in the public domain. Newer ones, I wouldn't like to say because some of these names are inappropriate to take. But just imagine a company like Satyam, who was one of the biggest software companies of those days, or the best airlines company, the best airlines in 2008, 2009 was Kingfisher Airlines. Both of these organizations went under. One, Satyam did fudging of accounting, doctoring of accounts, and Kingfisher ran away with money, banking money, and money laundered the money, Now, what happens to those board members who were sitting there, the independent directors, the finance guy? How did they manage this whole issue of fraudulent actions is $1 million question. Now, because they couldn't handle it well, what happens to these organizations? All these organizations have gone bankrupt. And you take examples and after examples, even today, one of the biggest edtech company today is Byju's. Now, what is it going under? It is actually undergoing serious issue pertaining to so-called alleged money laundering. Forget about mismanagement, poor management, edtech perhaps doesn't work, business may not be appropriate, online students are not coming. But in my view, in this particular company, it is secondary. When a company which was worth 2 years back, $22 billion, 2 years ago, $22 billion, as I'm talking to you, it's worth only $200 million, 99% off. Now, I can't give you a number as to what is relating to business or what is relating to poor governance or fraud. I would believe that perhaps 2/3 of it is poor governance, and 1/3, to my mind, is either risk management, poor risk management, or management failure. Be as it may, just giving an example, giving a story, because it's all in the public domain. The third aspect which all of us must be aware of, ladies and gentlemen, as senior management team, whether you're a CFO or whichever hat you are wearing, ladies and gentlemen, is sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, the matter is very serious, extremely serious. This world is changing. The world is having and going to have, not only having, but going to have sudden floods, sudden famines. We don't know whether we are going to have good rain this year. We don't know. Now they say no El Nino, there is no El Nino, but there will be perhaps El Nina. El Nina is good, El Nino is not. Suddenly the meteorological department is saying most probably El Nino is not happening. But if it happens, no one knows. Maybe you are not aware, in the month of January, okay, the highest mountain, the highest skiing mountain in India is the Gulmarg, which is Kashmir. The Gulmarg lives on skiing between November and March. 5 months of the country, of the state, lives on skiing. That means heavy snowing. People come there, enjoy their lives. They do skating and snowing. They do skating. Till January, the highest mountain in India did not have a drop of snow. It has just started snowing in the first week of February. And they don't know whether it will just suddenly stop in another week's time. can you believe that Gulmarg, Kashmir is not snowing? It's all a matter of global warming. The sustainability is something which we must look at, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how we are focusing on it or not, but if we don't focus, our children and our grandchildren will not spare us. This is a very serious issue which we must look at. We are finance guys, therefore I can't but talk about money. So money and finance, I don't want to talk to you and give you a gyan and what is money. Of course, there are two sources of finance, which is either equity or debt. But the big thing which is happening, while there is a lot of money available, there is enough money for good projects. But we all know there is funding winter going for startups. So there is money. In fact, India had startup investments of about $40 billion 2 years ago. After 2 years, that is this year, 2023, that is last year, only $11 billion was funded. It has fallen by 75% funding. That doesn't mean there is no money. There is money. But people have stopped funding, investors have stopped funding startups. Does it mean the startup ideas have dried up? I don't know. Does it mean the startup community is not good enough? I don't know. Is there a management failure? I don't know. Risk management? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, while there is money available in the market, but when you go and asking for money, there is no money. To my mind, the whole money that is funding, the funding equation has changed, ladies and gentlemen. It is no longer that if you have a good project, they have to think that not only you have to have a good project, the cash flows of the future has to be good, but very important is governance. They must ensure that the owners or the entrepreneurs or the startup entrepreneurs or whoever the entrepreneurs are will take care of money through appropriate governance and transparency. Now, this whole issue of money raising, funding raising is standing definitely on a very firm footing of transparency and good governance. So that's another one. I did talk about risks. I did talk about governance. I did talk about sustainability. Now I talked about money. I want to talk about the last fifth one. We, the finance people, all of you together, please, ladies and gentlemen, you may be a wonderful manager. You may be very proficient. You may be very efficient. You may be able to speak very well and make wonderful presentations. But please don't forget one word, just one word which will make you and me different. It's called empathy. Ladies and gentlemen, in this hard world of money, governance, risk, but don't forget empathy. If we are not empathic enough, we will not be able to succeed. That's the only way we will be able to distinguish ourselves from products like ChatGPT. It's wonderful to say ChatGPT might take over the civilization and so on and so forth, but I still do believe they still don't have empathy. There are theories which says, no, they will be able to calculate empathy, but I don't think so. I hope it doesn't. But if it really does, if ChatGPT, like technology, starts having empathy, and empathy, it's a machine, so they wouldn't know their empathy is good or bad empathy, maybe that's the end of civilization. So, of course, the governments must get into some sort of a regulation around artificial intelligence, but that's not a topic I want to discuss. But I want to tell you that the difference between a good manager and not so good manager is someone who does or does not have empathy. Ladies and gentlemen, please show empathy to your people. So to summarize, risks are becoming profound. Unforeseen risks are coming through. So please keep your eyes and ears open as to how you might want to manage the risks of your businesses. The governance has become very critical. There are companies that the companies are going under because of poor governance. Sustainability, if we don't work on sustainability, we wouldn't exist after a few years. Definitely after 2050, I don't know what is going to happen. The world has already crossed that 1.5 degrees temperature threshold, as you know, this year. 2023, 2024, yes. We have already crossed the 1.5 degree warming temperature from the post-industrial era. It has already crossed because that was the benchmark set by the world global politicians. Risks, money is what I talked to you about. While there is a lot of money, but still there is no money. There is money, but there is no money. So we have to be very careful as to what we do with it. And the last and not the least, please, ladies and gentlemen, show empathy. It will make a difference between us and machines. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. So yes. So after a couple of minutes.
The speakers are muted. The speaker is muted. You are muted. We can't hear you. You are muted.
Can you hear me, Robin?
Yes, now it's very clear.
Okay. So before opening the floor to questions, I just wanted to add a couple of things to what he just said. So yes, pulling the plug, things like this happening, we are always, one thing that we always need to keep in mind is preparing for change. Change is eternal. This is going to happen all the time. So I think Robin has highlighted very, very important points in terms of our role. You know, it's just not just taking care of finance and everything, but, you know, keeping our eyes and ears open. And then, you know, somehow the CFOs, while they, you know, we love to give advice, we want our promoters, the shareholders to do the kind of things we think are right. Most of the times, we also are not the decision makers, we implement. So when we do that, we have to deal with change and so many things that they might do that's not really to our liking, but then we keep an eye and, you know, an ear out and ensure that things, you know, at least we are ready for a bumpy ride. And then yes, risk, very, very important. You know, risk mitigation is something that keeps ringing in our head all the time. And that's one thing that we need to all the time be cautious about. Thanks again for highlighting the corporate governance aspect and the frauds and the scams which never seem to die. Every year there is a story around some company or the other. And then we see people running out of these companies, and then the government trying to deal with the fraud and all kinds of departments getting in. And yes, on sustainability, I would add two more scary factors. Food and maybe water scarcity is another thing that we'll need to be prepared for. And yes, the crunch and decline for startup funding. Yes, Robin, you highlighted a very, very important area. I don't know whether they become more risk averse or more careful. In fact, if it's the latter, it's a good sign actually. Instead of them throwing money at startups that don't really have the sense of, you know, delivering, at least they should be careful with the money that they're doling out. So I'll open it out to questions.
Yeah, it's very nicely put regarding the corporate governance. But if we really look at it, I mean, my question is that, you know, whether complying with the various sections of the Companies Act and ticking in the box, does it mean that the corporate governance is absolutely fine? I mean, is that the only measure of the corporate governance? We have seen in the past also that, you know, the notorious Satyam company had been awarded the best governance award also prior to that. But leaving alone Satyam, thereafter many companies which have come, there were so many corporate failures. I mean, everywhere if you see the governance failures are there in many cases, whether it is SREI in Calcutta or Kingfisher, I mean, anywhere, whatever the cases which you take, even the ILFS, there's a lot of corporate governance failures. So what should be the measure of this particular corporate governance really to do, I mean, to sustain this particular concept? And secondly, I think SEBI has banned, or I don't know whether I can call banned or not, by 2018 circular that the rating agencies should not give the corporate governance scores. That is how they have stopped it. I mean, whether that is going to be stopped forever or whether it is going to be revived for any specific reason it has been stopped, I just wanted to understand that. Thank you.
Robin, you there? Robin?
I am speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, good. So let me answer this question of corporate governance. Is ticking the boxes of Companies Act 2013, is that appropriate price. If a company can do that, no company can do that consistently unless there is good governance. Now, the government cannot fix this. How can a government fix consistent quality and appropriate price? So they say, you know what you have to do? You have to get independent directors. You have to get 2/3 independent directors. You have to have minutes of the meeting. You have to file the accounts in the register of companies, and so on and so forth. In part of that, in order to ensure that the corporates are not misutilizing the fund of investors and lenders, they have also brought in the concept of auditors. Now, if a company can give consistent quality of appropriate price and not cheating the stakeholders, which includes creditors, employees, and of course investors, to my mind, the last, because they obviously are investors. If the company can do that, the company is practicing good corporate governance. So to cut the long story short, it is not about ticking the boxes. It's all about making sure the organization is behaving properly, who is making money out of the ecosystem, which is created by the government and you and me, about the citizens, and they must give back to the society of appropriate quality and consistent price, and they shouldn't fool us by misutilizing our fund, our money, our ecosystem, our environment.
Anyone else? He mentioned the Kingfisher, then, I remembered this case, SBI versus Vijay Mallya. I mean, even after the directive from the court, how did money disappear to USA after a directive that, the money should be untouched? So, there's always this nexus that goes on. Yeah, and that's a big issue. Neeraj ko, yeah. Exactly. So I think this, the nexus that's, that contributes to this mess. So our next speaker is Mr. V. Satyanarayana.
I think Mala, there are some more questions.
What
I
do you-
think, yeah, the whole talk has been so compelling that some brilliant ideas are now, they've started flowing. Somebody raised their hand. Yeah, you wanted to ask a question? Mayank wants to ask a... Okay, I think there was miscommunication as to who's taking the lead when it comes to asking the questions. Okay, unanimous choice, Mayank is the leader. Mayank, do you want to ask a question? Yeah, he's good. He's good. I think you can proceed. Thank you.
We'll ask him to...
Questions will come from there, answers will come from there. So they know the questions, they know the answers.
It's a fixed match that is going on. All right. Okay. Back to you, Mala.
Yeah. So our next speaker is Mr. V. Satyanarayana, who is the Vice Chairman and ED at Virinchi Hospitals, Hyderabad, with 3 decades of industry experience, including IT and non-IT. IT experience spans across health and life sciences, BFSI, global delivery, sales, relationship establishments. So Satyanarayana is here.
Do you want to get on the stage, Satyanarayana Garu?
No.
Mala, you can keep this.
Would rather
There's
stand
one more
here.
mic there actually on your table. Yeah. Okay.
Am I audible?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Thank you. So, I have got a pitch. That's how at least Ramakantji told me. So, I'm sure that I can hold your attention. It's a very difficult task to do so after Robin has done his bit. So, he's laid such a broad contour of what we should be covering, discussing, etc. But mine is a much mundane topic that he gave to me. So, nevertheless, I'll try to do my best. He gave me a topic roadmap, and then just like all the movies now have, like Guntur Karam, highly inflammable. I never understood what is how spiciness can be inflammable, but still I took liberty to add the extended tagline, the suffix to it in terms of a perspective for CFOs to perform, lead and excel. So this can be just suggestive and not prescriptive once again. So let's take it as we go along. Yeah. Next, please. Next. Yeah. So let me set some broad expectations from this session of mine. First of all, I would like to present to you the times that we are in. Some part of it I think already Robin has covered. Then there is also the dimension of the changing paradigm of the CFO function, how it's just evolved, and then now there is a ballooned responsibility on each or some of us who are currently doing the role or who are having reportee CFOs or who are aspiring to be the CFOs. We just need to know a little bit more, like the T, a broader horizontal line and a deeper vertical line. Then we also have a set of the unique features of the finance function and the CFO role that's called for in today's context. Key attributes that are needed to lead as a CFO. What is it that we are looking at from the market that's currently giving us the dynamic inputs? And then what's the kind of an ideal CFO profile? I thought, should I put some Vamanavatar, Trivikramaavatar or Dashavatar? But I refrained because we are a secular country and also too much of cultural renaissance is going on. I just desisted from doing so. Then also, what is the kind of the design of the nouveau CFO organization? You just can't be successful by yourself as an individual. You need to have people, process, technology elements to take care to make sure that whatever be that kind of that governance and delivery that are being talked about and asked about are all done and achieved. Then I just also took liberty to go on to the world www and get some research buzz as to what's happening around. Of course, there is a disclaimer I just wanted to give, just like you see at the very beginning of the movies, no animals have been harmed. Similarly, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the flow, the IPR of the flow is mine. Most of the content and presentations, this thing is mine, but I have used liberally whatever is the knowledge that's available across in terms of the latest publications from McKinsey, HBR and others. So all of us can share from the thought process. When somebody has already invented the wheel, let's not waste time to reinvent it again. So that's the kind of a disclaimer this comes with. Yeah. Can we go to the next? First of all, I would like to cover the times that we are in. VUCA is here to stay. That's a new normal. All of us are quite familiar. Volatility, uncertainty, chaos, and then ambiguity. This is the new normal with which the world is running. This is actually a US military term coined to design and play with all the multiple theaters and scenarios, but it has achieved more popularity in the last 5 to 6 years. It's just stuck to us like bubblegum. And you see, today's world, you have got conflicts present all across, countries fighting with another, North Korea trying to send missiles. You have got the Ukrainian conflict that seeped into the Red Sea. Now oil supplies are affected. You have got multiple policy changes that are there by the US federal government. The world is always bothered about what the US Fed does because, it will have the butterfly effect. Then you have got our own, if there is a proverb in Telugu, if the elder sister's husband has come, then my husband also is not far away, right? In Telugu, there is a proverb or an idiom. Similarly, if US Fed does something, our own Indian RBI also does something. And what it did, exactly on 2nd September 2022, it gave out a master circular by which at one stroke it killed the entire fintech innovation that has been done over last 5 years. The so-called unis of the world, slice of the world, dhan of the world, they have all been forced to cut down, scale back, and then today you don't see any of that. The reason given out is that, there is a huge level of unprotected risk that is there in the market by virtue of these institutions giving out credit massively and that credit not being reported into the CIC companies, etc. So that is another thing that has done. And about the risk factor that Robin has said earlier, anything and everything can fall on your head. So once I was there with a doctor, very famous allergy doctor, and then what he said is, how does this allergy get triggered? Then he said, you can be allergic for anything under the sun, including the sun. So risk can come to you in any form and it can strike. So you have to be prepared is the constant challenge that you have to carry on your onerous shoulders. The pandemic now, is it finally over? Can we just say it's all done and dusted? We have been seeing this from late, from I think Christmas of 2019, it has come, the COVID. And then afterwards, multiple variants have come. Very recently also, we have heard that there is a JN variant. Then I took the liberty to call one of the top CRO scientists. He said, no, this is not going to be. Now at least I have some confidence that if I ask a question to him next time, what he says will at least be true, because the JN21 did not turn out to be a major version. Also, Robin has covered about the fact of major climate changes in the world and climate activism. This is picked up in a very big way. The other aspect is, apart from VUCA, let us all understand that 64 countries in the world today are going to hold their democratic elections. That means 49% of the globe is going to choose new governments. Either they will continue the existing governments, I don't know, like in Russia, Putin will get another term, maybe the nth term, or Biden is going to win or lose, or Trump is going to come, or existing second in command is going to run. We are not sure. Same is the case with India. We are going to have our elections to the Indian Union that are going to be held shortly. That is another factor that all of us must consider. Why is it important? Because all of us have businesses, and these businesses have suppliers or customers spread all over the world. Today that situation is gone. Even if you are running a boutique shop, you have got an internet from where people can order, and your supply chain can be interrupted, or your customers' buying patterns can be interrupted with just one click or one decision of a government. What is the status of the Indian growth story? We seem to be on a stable growth path, at least that's the perception that all of us have. Yes, do you agree? Agree or not? Yeah, at least reasonably we are okay, right? And I think our FM also has said very clearly that we are moved from the laggard 5 to the top 5, which is good to know. And we are soon going to be in the, a 5 trillion economy, and by 2047 they are aiming for a much larger number. But will it happen or not? Yes, some of us who know, the stock exchange was at 6,500 BSE in 2005. People said it will go to 8K. I never believed, at least. Then it touched 10K. The papers had the masked lines, Mount 10K reached. After that, we have got 25 and 50 and then 60, and now we are raring to go 72, and I hear our friends saying we'll touch 150 also, which is very good if you have got nice portfolio of stocks and mutual funds done. And then we are also seeing the success of IPOs, though LIC was not such a big success. We just had other IPOs click very well. And today India is a major policy influencer. See, we are able to straddle the entire political world with much heavier presence because of the fact that we are a force to be reckoned with in terms of buying power, in terms of our middle class, in terms of the economy, the consumerism. We are a power to be reckoned with. Today we are able to nudge the so-called powerful countries, USA and or Russia. We are able to have good bilateral ties with both the countries. It is not a joke to maintain those kind of things. And recently you saw Mr. Modi has gone Honorable Prime Minister has gone and then secured the release of 8 people convicted to death, which is also by no means, I have lived and worked in Qatar in my assignment previously. I know they just don't forgive and forget. They are very, very tough people when it comes to abiding with their local laws. But still it has happened. It shows that, they care a lot for our country. And then comes the increasing compliance and regulatory oversight burden on the shoulders. Day by day, there is, first what has happened is the institute, the so-called, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, of which most of us owe a lot of allegiance because that is our alma mater to us. And of course, now, we have got the IIMs of the world also providing us a lot of very good talent pool in terms of MBAs and all. We are not claiming to be the super knowers of everything. But the days of being the academic authority, standard setting authority, and also the regulatory authority and the disciplinary authority, all 4 rolled into one, are over. Today you have got regulatory functions separated in the form of NFRA, and then those people are going to come very heavily behind the statutory auditors, and soon they are also going to come and then tackle even the CFOs. Technology, then you have got ESG, you have got BRSR, then you have got GDPR, then you have got this latest thing, DPDP Act, Digital Protection Act. Then you have got net zero, carbon emissions control. You have got technology transformation, cloud, AI, EV, and then of course latest thing what Mr. Robin touched upon, hydrogen as an alternative. And then you have got trust and governance deficits, huge trust and governance deficits everywhere. See, what really baffles most of us is, we say that, we are a country, we are very deep-rooted in Sanatan culture. We want to follow dharma and our epics, at least to quote. There are multiple instances in the epics where people have voiced protest when something that is untoward was happening. One of Duryodhana's own brother condemned and then walked out of the courtroom when something that is unruly was about to happen. Right? Why people don't voice their concern and then walk off, protest and walk off? Right? That protest has to be marked. People take it silently, which is actually the reason why governance fails. If you don't acquiesce, mark it. Then there is research malice and social media malice. Some or most of us are actually victims of this social media malice. A brand can be made. It takes 10 years to make a brand, and then it can be marred in just 24 hours. 24 hours, not more. And then, of course, you had seen how people who bought stock of Adani Group, when it went down, thanks to Hindenburg, they have made millions of rupees. When the stock came back, when certain of the allegations or whatever it is, they have not been proven. So this is the kind of the entire gamut of the times that we are living in. It's not a joke to really be there and understand it is like a kind of a cocktail that's too difficult. It's very nice to mix. The colors are beautiful, but you just don't know what will happen to you if you imbibe it. That's what an example I can give you. Yeah. Can we move on? Next. See, this is the exact changing paradigm of the CFO function when I say. Gone are the days when, the entire thing I wanted to cover A to Z of what each one of us is doing. It is just not accounting, it is just not budgeting, it is just not disclosure. We are doing an entire gamut of work. I want each one of you to give a hand to yourself for the kind of excellent work that's spanning the entire A to Z of this. Ladies and gentlemen, if it were not for you, none of this, or at least a part of this, I tell you, enterprises will collapse. It's my open challenge. Can we go to the next one? So, what is it in terms of the unique functions and features that are there today? apart from the typical adrenaline rush that, yes, I control the number, yes, I can give a decision, I can approve an expense, I can approve a capital budget and all that stuff. The CFO role is ever changing. So the typical Munimjis of the world, who used to wear those round glasses and just bother about a few ledger books and all that stuff. Some of us have done audit of those when we started with. Today, all that stuff is gone. Nothing of that is there. Even Tally is a very good tool. But today, most of us work on advanced systems to capture and process data. So if you look at it from a conventional accountant and an MIS manager, today the CFO is a very honorable co-pilot to the CEO in steering the enterprise. It's come a long way. And the change in the last 30 years, the 3 decades, far outpaces the entire change of the 140 years. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales was formed 140 years back, and that if I reckon it from that point, that at least they got a charter to deal with finance and audit function, the kind of the change that we have seen in the last 30 years, right from, I think, at least for us, the Narasimha Rao regime, incidentally, he was awarded Bharat Ratna very deservingly. But that's the kind of the pace at which we are evolving. This is the only function that can see everything. Nothing can escape, right? It's the kind of that roving eye. Nothing can escape the finance function. You are having a dual mandate. You support the business and you also play the stewardship of the enterprise, both at the same time. So you are both a captain and a player. So you must understand when you are doing what. The number one priority remains in terms of being the maximum return to the shareholders. And all stakeholder segments are having massive expectations from the CFO. They think that the CFO is almost like, he is dipped in Ganges. Every day in the morning he comes, and then he is such a pious person, and then he has to be doing all this. But then, he also has to deal with business, which is, where there cannot be a profit without a markup of what we buy and sell, right? So I think the expectations are far too many on the CFOs. And CFO is also in the midst of constantly changing the resource allocation prioritization. The last question, very important, very nice question is often, and we dread to hear this, we just don't want this question to be posed to us at all when we lead the finance function, is, did you not see it coming? What? We are also, a CFO also is a human being. He can apply his mind, he can be networked, and then he can exercise all his wisdom, but sometimes some things are far beyond, because a decision somewhere that can be taken in a different country where there is a major supplier, can actually impact and then, rock your bottom line. So did you not see it coming? Will be what? You're not just prepared. Ultimately, the takeaway from this is enterprise and society rely on the CFO. That's the bottom line. To the outside world, the company has 2 phases, a business phase and then an assurance phase. The assurance phase is always the CFO. The business phase is they are always excited to listen about what products the company is making, what products the company is launching, and how they are going to get into newer markets and all that stuff. But believe me, no Rakesh Janjanwala, no other investor will put money on it if it is not going to be profit making. And that assurance only a CFO can give. Can we go to the next one? Now I just wanted to list out as to who, where, which, what, when and how. Some of these attributes that are needed. What are the key attributes that are needed to lead? So if the role is ever changing, then what are you going to do about it? What is it that we can do about it? We need to be embarked upon a constant path of learning and upgradation of our skills. We just can't be having tunneled vision. We just can't be having kind of, okay, we are in a comfort zone. No. You have to be very, very agile and adaptive. You have to set apart time to educate yourself and the team. This doesn't happen at all. Let me tell you, none of the CFO organizations, none, conduct an internal review of their CFO function. They don't call, like the last part that he has said, empathy. How many times do we really go sit with a tax team and then understand how difficult it is to actually go and get assessments done? Did we take time out to ask the tax head? Did we take time out to ask the tax assistant manager? Did we sit across with the treasury or the banking finance team to check with them how difficult it is to make a project proposal, what hindrances they are facing with the banks? No, we just sit at the top. I'm not saying that we should not do, but let us empathize. It is their job to do, but at least we empathize with them. It's a different thing, and we also learn from that. And then we upgrade the skill. We'll be in a position to do something by ourselves. One thing that is of paramount importance is a CFO must be in a position to do any of the functions that his reporting managers do. If you cannot do that, if you cannot draft a tax appeal, if you cannot draft a strategy, if you cannot pass an accounting entry, if you cannot give a head of account in a chart of accounts, then obviously there is a flaw. You cannot afford to blink. The society expects that. IDK, which is the most popular form that our youngsters use in social media nowadays, you just can't use it. Sorry, my friends. That's going to be the kind of, the way we can all be shown the door, because I don't know, cannot. You may sometimes have to admit you do not know because, you have not been updated about it, but you must make all the attempts to make sure that you are in the know of certain things that are expected of you. Have a proper RASI matrix done. That is very, very important. You cannot expect to see everything unless, you have got very clearly identified what you are responsible for, accountable for, when you have to be consulted, when you have to be informed. This is a simple takeaway from the IT systems that you have to actually put in your systems. Otherwise, I'm telling you, you will be in deep trouble because business will be pulling in one direction. Day after day, some kind of commercial incentive plans will be given. You are not in the know, and you don't know whether, that is a viable plan or not. And then suddenly you will be hit with some kind of unquantified liability. You will have to pay it out. And then, the auditors are saying that it's a prior period item, blah, 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 it will go on. So I think, this is a very important thing for us to have in terms of the RASI matrix. People, process, technology elements, very, very vital. One thing is, we do have in the CFO Nuvo organization, I have covered this aspect. You have traditional, conventional structure that takes care of multiple functions, but you do not have elements like the SWAT teams. Let us take a leaf out of special purpose missions, right? You have a sniper who takes a shot. A sniper's function is different. Then, a rapid fire function is different. Then there are people to cover your back. If you do not have that kind of a team as well in your division, in the finance function, it is going to cost you a lot. Process institutionalization and exception and escalation management, they are also to be set. They have to be set in place. Without proper exception and escalation management, you can't be managing everything. And I'm telling you, please get off the habit of approving all expenses by yourself. There should be a way you have to define a structure, automate certain things, and then make sure that you approve budgets instead of approving expenses. It is not your job to sign on every voucher. Let us not be narcissists to like our own signature, even though we own Moblans and crosses of the world, right? So we may like that signature, but if anybody is so fond of signing, I would rather take some signed checks from you. But this is a kind of an advice that I wanted to share with the fraternity, that we should move away from this kind of a thing. Even electronic approvals suck a lot. So, you just keep on doing the workflow. It doesn't work. You don't have to be in the know of the daily routine operational expenditure. You also need to invest in enterprise technology. Various IT infra has changed drastically, my friends. You need to sit with your CIOs and CISOs and CTOs. You need to understand the complete gamut of it. Because let me tell you, the concept of big data, the data lakes, actually gives you an opportunity to cut costs like anything. There is a segment called S3. You go to AWS and ask for S3, the data costs will come down very drastically. But how many of us are aware? How much of interaction do we have with the CTO and the CEO organizations to ask them these questions? Because I know a recent case of a global aircraft manufacturer. They make turbines. They have petabytes of data, even, I don't know, petabytes also, no, zettabytes of data from every bolt or whatever. You have seen the Alaskan Air thing, right? So after that, every kind of the data point comes to them, and they don't know where the data has to be stored. And if the entire data has to be stored in a primary then it is very, very costly. So they have a way to move this and then store it at a time when there can be a nice recall, which is called the S3. So let us all be more educated about these aspects, which can actually give us some cost-saving tips. In terms of the dual mandate, when you want to support business, you must have internal networking with the fellow CXO community. You can't be successful by yourself. You have to be the kind of that glue and the integrator who works with your chief marketing officer, chief business officer, chief compliance officer, chief information officer, chief technology officer, COO. Previously, we used to have only 5 positions, C positions, like the Pancha Pandavas. Today, now they have expanded like Dashavatar. Then, tomorrow we don't know, like some 27 nakshatras they'll go or what, because every day we also have the chief digital transformation officer position. So the C positions are expanding, which is good because the company wants to give so much of importance. But for any C position, the go-to point will mostly be the CFO, because you will have to evaluate the viability of creating that position and the kind of the KRA that will go in and the benefit the enterprise will get along with the CEO. And ultimately, my small suggestion, always use wisdom. CEO passion. CEOs are known to be very passionate people. CFOs, I do not say they should be dispassionate. They can have passion. They can empathize. But you should have the essential quality of being pragmatic and skeptical. And if not, sometimes even if you are pessimistic, you're not wrong for the role that you do. Your role demands that you don't, somebody comes and says, hey, you know what, we have this great plan. We have got a vacant plot. We can set up a restaurant business. You are actually not into restaurant business. You are into some IT and other kind of services. You just have this and then you want to do. Will it really be okay for you to do that or not? You have to evaluate. Does it synchronize with the overall objectives? Because there is a great idea. You are into the e-kitchen, cloud kitchens, let us say. So that is another concept that's coming. So will it really gel well? Will it give you the result or not? You have to be checking all the time. So wisdom is very, very important. We are respected not for our eloquence. We are not respected for our number crunching, which, okay, number crunching is required, but we are only respected for our wisdom and the ability to say what can work, what cannot work, and then allow business to take a decision. Can we go to the next one? I did cover the pragmatism, skepticism, and pessimism as key ingredients. Interestingly, I found a very nice article. You also can Google it and then find out. It's a Harvard Business Review on mergers and acquisitions about the CEO and the CFO partnership. What they say is relatively low optimism. They have a score where in all the transcripts about mergers and acquisitions, the CEO is gaga about it, and the CFO is giving his wisdom or the comments in some negative attributes. They have created a score and a percentile system. What they find is where the optimism is relatively low in a kind of a merger and acquisition scenario, the return on assets later on in the merged combined entity was observed to be far higher. So it pays for you to be a little bit more skeptical is the point I wanted to make. So the question that I told, did you not see it coming? So this is a question. We said, we just don't want to be. So how will you prevent it? There is no other way. You have to peek around. You have to be peeking around and ask what could go wrong and do some scenario playing as to what it is. So even if you go and talk to your peer CXOs and nothing is going to come wrong, but at least you will be more educated as to what could possibly go wrong in a given scenario. Last but not the least, in terms of rising expectations, the key attributes that are required from all of us would be vigilance, integrity, compliance to laws, transparency, probity, and ethical adherence. So let us take not that we don't have any of this. We do have, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I think we need to keep measuring up. We need to create a journal as to how we will move in our journey over a period of next 1 year. How are we going to make sure that for these attributes that I have, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do I rank? How am I going to improve? Because your personal improvement means a lot to the change of the direction of the enterprise. This is a very interesting graphic that I have taken out from the current Institute journal. Luckily for me, I was just browsing for some content, and there is an article about CFOs in the February issue. And what's been put in the balance is, in sum and substance, when you want to maximize shareholder return, you always have a demand for long-term big ticket items versus short-term small ticket items. So just as they say, in a T20, you also need the singles, right? You just can't bank on the 4s and 6s. So your role becomes more onerous in terms of being the resource allocator by judiciously balancing both the ends. I think that's got to do with the key attributes. Can we go to the next? Not here to paint whether we have it all in us or not, but just kind of indicators what could be the kind of ideal profile elements of a CFO. We are expected to be very thorough in all financial matters. There's no doubt about it that we have covered previously. You must be a strategist. You must have a thorough grasp of the environment, the industry, the global context of how your business is going to get affected. Enterprise strategy, growth strategy. You also have to be familiar with the marketing strategy, then your finance strategy. So all the elements of strategy you must be very good at. Unfortunately, strategists, good strategists who are consultants do not have to be good implementers, right? So you engage the services of a BCG or a Booz Allen Hamilton or McKinsey's of the world. They'll come and then consult and then go away because they'll give the plan to you and then you have to execute it. But the unfortunate part here for us is we have to be also part of the team which will implement it. So you also have to be very good implementer or integrator. So your function, actually, if I have to define a CFO's role, is mostly 60% integration of the enterprise activities and 40% in terms of the overall part of finance and other things. So rather, you can also give yourself another title as the Chief Integration Officer. We did consider and talk about multiple attributes about being trustworthy and also a I wanted to write the word subscriber and practitioner. Then I desisted myself and said, why should I use the word subscriber? When you practice, automatically you have done that, right? So that is the kind of a thing. So this is the kind of a profile that we can look at. Maybe all of you can do it and then add or delete or customize according to your requirement. I have been sounded out. I'll just wrap it up in 3 or 4 minutes. I'm almost there at the end. Yeah. Can we go to the next one? This is the kind of the design of the CFO organization. I just want you to take a good look at it. We have got the typical functions on the left-hand side. What I want you to focus upon is to add the other 3 dimensions in terms of having a SWAT team, having a reporting and regulatory compliance, because BRSR is coming. Then there is going to be GDPR. There is already GDPR. Then there is DPDP and a whole lot of other issues. So you need to really focus on that. Then there has to be an inherent wing amongst in the finance division to take care of financial technology. Suggested teaming of this entire thing is a mix of professionals. Gone are the days when only accounting professionals will be part of finance teams. Now you need to hire people who are techies, who are MBAs and multiple other things in terms of doing business analysis and others. So I think it makes sense for us to have a nice mix. So you are going to be very effective and efficient. That is what I just wanted to summarize and say in terms of the Nuvo CFO organization. Yeah. Right? One last slide, that is mine. Can you go to the next one? Yeah. In terms, we just covered some of the things. I just did not want to say, hey, you know what, we have VUCA, and then leave it. I just wanted to suggest if there is any possibility how we can actually take some measure to control it. So control what is controllable is very, very important. We can't, unknown you cannot figure out. But known, unknown, you can tackle it. So that's what you should focus upon. Scenario planning is not going to be in weeks, which used to be the case previously, even some months also. Now it is all in 24 hours. If you don't plan and then give a report out as to what a scenario is going to play out, then you are like dead and gone. Also, the question that you need to ask is what can be true for any kind of a decision to go bad. This has to be there in every evaluation that you do. You need to ask this question for you to be successful. We are not here to please the CEO, nor please the promoter group, nor others. I know it's a very difficult thing to say. So because we do encounter all this in day-to-day things. It is just not possible. But can we put it in much softer terms? All of us have a way to put some things across, which we should do. For compliance and regulation, I think we need to have good amount of teams that are set up, prepared, geared up. One important thing is in terms of data localization. Lots of issues have gone by. I think, even in our forum also, multiple questions have been asked about data localization. We need to sit with people who know the data localization laws and understand each situation is different, how we have done it. So somebody may have data locally in Indian servers, you have no problem about it, but others are dealing with a different spread. Of course, all the major cloud providers have set up local Indian servers. And if you have got a problem, please do certainly go to Amarchand Mangaldas. They'll give you a solution. They'll give you a nice opinion. There's no doubt about it. Last and most important thing is cybersecurity. If you do not focus on cybersecurity, you are not having a kind of ethical hacker as part of the teams, and you do not know how the scenario pans out, you can be in for rude shocks. I just have an article in which it was cited that in the last 1 month of the fall in the US, 6 companies have filed 8Ks. 8K is a material impacting statement that a company has to file. So which is what they have done. So it means that there is actually a potential thing on cyber security. There are these Russian hackers, the Chinese hackers, a whole lot of others waiting to steal data. And the minute data is stolen, then the whole thing is topsy-turvy for you. And the person who will come into the picture and limelight is just the CFO to manage that crisis. Digitalization, I'm telling you, I just put that word. It is taken from Julius Caesar, Shakespeare's, the Ides of March, Ides of March. So, because March is going to come, we are here. I just took liberty to put an A in front of it, Ides of March. AI is going to come, it's going to stay with us. It is for us to embrace and see how either generative AI can be adopted or some other forms of it can be adopted. It's not going to go away. Remember, friends, we were the first to have heralded computerization with payroll and inventory getting done. So it is not such an anathema for us. We know where data should go. We play with data day in and day out. But we also need to know where it is stored, how it is stored, and how we can get insights out of that. Gone are the days of having information and then knowledge and then insight. Today you need to have wisdom out of it. So if you have to get wisdom, you must necessarily have embraced the AI philosophy. Precision AI, which is what you all need, will take time. So it needs to be highly customized to your own scenarios. You can work with some of the accomplished software vendors to give that to you if you are looking for it, but at least adapt generative AI for the present. That is it. Next. See, this is a research buzz. Just for your very quick take, I'll just take 2 minutes to go through 4 slides. Gartner is saying precisely from 2023 onwards, there is a journey till 2027. They are saying that there is a finance transformation, get it back on track. You have got to rethink finance strategy and capabilities. You have to do step change finance insights and storytelling. Here what you need to do is you need to invest in new technologies so that you are more effective to get insights from data. Those of you who have not used Hyperion or any other kind of nice reporting tools you can do. Even Power BI is very good, excellent. So people should get trained on Power BI because you will be able to crunch and then see the data visualization yourself. Drive productivity and unlock profitable growth. I don't want to talk about it because you must be doing all of that day in and day out. Put finance in AI mode. This is where the whole world, Gartner is a major influencer. When they write this kind of a paper, they are writing it so much that they are able to influence the entire CIO, CTO community as well, because there will be the kind of the vendors who can push it. And they have got enough buy-in when they have put these priorities. Next, please. Next. I think this is a kind of a risk factor matrix in a short span to a longer span, and you can get a download of this ebook from Gartner site. Just give your business name and you will get it. I'll send the link to you. I don't have to go through this. Next one. Put finance in AI mode. Certainly, Gartner is recommending that you need to go the whole 9 years, soup to nuts. Don't do a half embrace. It's not going to give you any result. You need to be the champion and you need to drive it with full force. So start with a plan first, get people who can consult on AI with you, and then go the whole hog of it. What could be the possible use cases? I'll just come to that, because you will say, he's talking about AI, then does he have any substance or form, right? That must be the question going around. So can we go to the next one, please? Next one. All 5 areas or 6 areas are given out in terms of contract and document review, financial management, policy, coding, forecast and budget variance explanation. But my take on AI is the ability for you to design and build AI that can give you the alerts, where you can sniff data, and then you will be alerted about the kind of wrongdoings that will get done. So flag any kind of transaction that looks suspicious. So this is going to be one major thing that you can ask the AI folks to develop and then give to you, because it will be very, very helpful to you. What you can't do, pouring over multiple things, multiple contracts, multiple things. Let us say you want to understand all the kind of the liabilities that are there and the 101 contracts that you have signed. Will it be possible? You digitize the whole thing and then ask AI to generate a matrix. It will do it for you. That's the kind of power of technology today. I think that is it. Next, last one. So thank you for a patient hearing. Much of the credit for it, if at all there is any, should go to the acknowledgements that I have given out. I missed ICAI, but thankful, and also thankful to all the fellow finance professionals from whom I have learned, my seniors and my peers and colleagues. I do hope that this presentation did serve some kind of purpose, and I'm very glad and happy to be at this podium and share. This is a very privileged occasion for me. Thank you for listening to me patiently.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Mala Garu, just a quick interruption. I need to welcome somebody who has actually taken time out and joined us this evening, despite not keeping too well. Let's all put our hands together for George Isaac, former Director of Finance of GVK Group, and presently an advisor and in the board of various companies, including Epitome. Malti from Qcity, the General Manager of Qcity, Malti Marusetti, would like to extend you a warm welcome, Sir George Isaac. If you can just come forward a little bit if your health allows. We really appreciate the fact that, by the way, I'm told that he was almost hospitalized a couple of days back, but just for 2 hours, and then he started running. He ran all his way to Qcity campus to be a part of this event. Yeah, very quickly I'll hand over the mic to him. We'll quickly hear from him, and then Mala, you can continue. Sorry for that interruption. George, a quick word from you.
Yeah, I'm not prepared for this, but nevertheless, since I have been given the mic, I thought I'll just say a few words. Nothing pertaining to no, it's okay. It's okay. I think I feel very embarrassed when somebody says that I'm sick. Well, unfortunately, yesterday I had low sugar, and it went down to as low as 45, and I had to get admitted, and they pumped in a packet of saline, and I was back to normal. I, in fact, did not attend the office after that. I took some rest, but I am back to normal. Thank you so much for the love and affection that I have got from my fellow CFOs. Thank you so much. I don't want to, come in the way and stand here and make a sermon. Kindly excuse me. Some other occasion, I will certainly request Ramakant Tripathi to give me an opportunity to speak, and I will do so at that time. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Thank you so much. Get well soon. You already look well, though. Yeah, I'm hoping that tomorrow you're back to the pink of your health. Over to you, Mala.
Thanks, Isaac. So, Isaac, me and Ramurthy, we worked together for many, many years. Yeah. He's a real darling. Huh? Okay. So, thank you, Satyanarayana. It was a very detailed presentation, and we won't forget. We can't say, I don't know. Thank you for reminding us. We can't escape. So, if anything goes wrong, we're the first ones that are going to be hauled up. And, many found their way to the jail too. So, yeah, we'll remember all of that. So, anyone with any questions here, please?
Yeah, can you tell more about artificial intelligence? I would like to know more, because this is the buzz, lot of buzz going around. So, is the artificial intelligence, somebody was saying that it can be misused also, like artificial intelligence, like many things, like somebody can copy your face, or somebody can act like you and show that actually you, but somebody else is there and speak. As if you are speaking, but somebody else is copying your photograph, or he can copy your mannerism and speak like as if you are speaking, but actually you are not the one. Or I also heard that somebody is giving some messages which does not actually belong to you, but it looks like it's coming from MD or CEO, but it's not actually so. So is there any is there any risk in using AI which we should take care of?
Absolutely. I think let us first, I'll try to answer it in multiple parts. Okay. So as for the first part that you sought, the other day I just watched a clip somewhere that A.R. Rahman is trying to create an artificial persona of legendary S.P. Balasubramanian. So what happens is, you try to put all the songs that have been sung by SPB, and the system will learn. So just like, one thing is system, unfortunately, a human being will have tediousness and fatigue. System is devoid of those things. So system can learn for any number of hours and imbibe any amount of data. The only factor that can be a limiting factor to that is in terms of its processor and storage. So I see many learned friends are there. So they are able to give out. So if that be the case, what is it is trying to do? It is just trying. It'll imbibe all the notes, and then if there is a new song, it will just pick out the way, the tone, and the melody of how it has to be sung. It will just be rendition. That's what is. Second, I just saw a clip where you have got Shashi Tharoor versus Shashi Tharoor. So these things are all going to be there. But these are all kind of very non-relevant to us in the kind of the AI that we are talking about. The AI that we are talking about is to create a machine robo, whatever it is. So put it very simply, you create code that directs a particular learning to be done, and then apply that knowledge and then give it back to you. So I had a chance. I just went to ChatGPT. You can download ChatGPT. Then you say, what are the imperatives for CFOs? I got a list of 9. I said, what are the challenges for CFO? I got another list of 9. But I'm telling you, I did not use any of those in this presentation. Because I just went the paper mode. I did my research and then I used it. Because what I thought is, ChatGPT at this point of time is great in terms of text content, but it is still not evolved to the kind of the precision that accountants want. So when you say artificial intelligence, it is only a replication of how humans think, act, talk, and process information. That's all that we need to know. So any kind of a process that needs to be automated, you had. And one thing I will tell you, the whole world lives in terms of creating hypes. So what happened in 2000, you had web, right? Oh, the web, everybody wanted to do. I was a consultant for GE. There were 54 internal website projects going on at that time. So they had a toll gate system where they used to say different departments used to come and then compete to do some kind of a thing with fluffy savings and all. They used to shoot it down by a very effective toll gate mechanism. So the Web 2.0. Afterwards, what happened is enterprise data warehouse, EDW. Then afterwards, BI. Then afterwards, something else. Then came the thought, mobile first. Right? Everything on mobile. So we don't develop anything on meant for a laptop or a normal desktop computer. Forget about desktops. They are all dead and gone. So laptops, but everything is mobile first. So you develop it for the mobile and it can be renditioned onto the mobiles and then do. So it's all an app kind of a world. These hypes keep happening every 5 years because that's how the industry evolves, develops knowledge and all. Currently it is the buzz that, AI and all. Actually, AI and robotics were there from 30 years back. These subjects were taught in the US. Only now, it's seen the light of the day. And then, you have got hype getting built up on this. So, multiple facets of AI are there. And all we are trying to understand is, can we cut the cost of running an enterprise using AI? Can we do more of robotic process automation? So where people don't have to be doing the mundane things. System will read. Today, for example, previously you used to have papers that are filled in for credit card processing. So you just take those things, then somebody has to key them in, and then somebody has to approve, etc. Today, any kind of form that is filled is just scanned. And using OCR, the fields are automatically populated. A credit decision is made based on rules engine, and a credit card is automatically given. There is no human interface at all. This is all automation. This is all artificial intelligence. So I think to answer your question, there are significant risks of AI because world wars can trigger for the nuclear commands and other things that are there. If somebody can hack into, multiple movies have been made actually to bring this to the point. But for paucity of time, I would want to stop at this and say, AI is a wonderful tool. Just like nuclear, you have both advantages and disadvantages. Thank you. I think this will be one last question because there are other speakers. I don't mind.
I don't have a question. I don't have a question. I'll rather add the things what you're saying. AI. Like people are afraid of AI. Rather, it will be very helpful. A classical example, the industry which I represent, which is healthcare. AI, like it will be very helpful in healthcare industry. Classical example of AI is that like a doctor do not have a time to read all the clinical records. When you gave the example of AR, where all the repository of all the songs can be there and then AI can bring it into alive. There were, in a Beijing, there were 7 patients who were in a coma, and doctor said there is no hope of they will be alive. AI reviewed all the clinical record and it has all the time and repository of record, and they said they will be alive, and they did. So that is the difference between a machine and the human. We can take the advantage of the machine for the betterment of our profession. Similarly, we have to invest certain things in as a role of a CFO, where we can take the advantage of the AI for our betterment of our own team and the company. Thank you.
Even with us in our healthcare facility, what we have done is we are trying to institutionalize AI, and one current project is already running in terms of sepsis. So is there a predictive model that can be built in terms of predicting people who can get, how sepsis can catch, and then whether they can get affected by it. So that's one thing. But unfortunately, what happens is you need to have multiple data sets. A number of data sets are required for you to process and then build an algorithmic model. And for that, you need collaboration of other institutions as well. But nevertheless, with the available data, we can still do certain things. So these are all very helpful. Thank you for the appreciation.
Thanks so much. I would once again like to thank Rajat and Malati for this wonderful opportunity. You're bringing people together actually. So I would request Ravi to take over and play us a small video on Qcity. Rashida has been waiting for long. So our next speaker is Ms. Rashida Adinwala on board efficacy. She's a founder partner of R&A Associates, an integrated corporate secretarial and legal services firm, and also the first woman president of TAI Hyderabad for the year 2023. She has over 26 years of experience in the field of corporate law. So over to you, Rashida.
No, that's not absolutely fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A very good evening. I know it's almost dinner time and people must be hungry. So we'll keep it very short. I'm very conscious of the time also. So we just talked about AI and, so I would start my thing with one particular, incident that I happened to read in the newspapers, and also it's there in the, on YouTube and various things, where deep fake, right, is really causing a lot of issues. And there was this one CFO who attended, it was a virtual meeting, and there was a thing where all the board members were cloned by deepfake technology, and only the CFO was the real person who was there. Rest, all of them were deepfake, and this happened, I think, in one of the European countries. And the way the whole thing was done, and it was so real, and the, she was asked, the CFO was asked to transfer $25 million for a particular project. And she did not realize that, this was all cloned and what happened. And everything looked so real, so good, that she did it only to realize that it went out somewhere else. And so the question here comes is that, as a CFO, what is it that we have to do? So I think now in this kind of scenario or technology, probably we have to reconfirm, recheck that is this really, is this what was the instructions given? Do I really do it? Maybe take a second confirmation, maybe this is, so coming from that, and coming from a legal background, I'm not from your community, but definitely very part of, and we work together, so collaborate with each other as company secretaries, legal, as well as CFOs. So we all have a very, very vital role to play today, especially in this world of AI, fake, and all of these issues. CFO, as we all know, as well as company secretaries, we are KMPs, key managerial persons. And we owe a lot of, I would say, a lot of responsibility, because the first person to target if anything goes wrong, as Robin said, when it comes to fraud or anything, is the KMPs, right? So, and therefore, it becomes far, far important for us to be more vigilant, to be more, have the, say, knowledge about the Companies Act as deep as you would have about the financial things, is what I would suggest to all the CFOs today. For example, one of my clients, so he happens to be a CFO of a company, and they didn't have any previous records. So they said, please help us with all the previous records. There's nothing properly maintained. There are no minutes. There's nothing of that sort. But they wanted to, because now they wanted to go for funding. So this is one thing which I realized that, while you may not be doing that function, but you have to ensure that, especially when we are coming small companies or startups, and I find a lot of people working with startups, where this particular thing about legal compliances with respect to that is not given that of importance, which subsequently can become a lot of problem, given the fact that when you go and when you're scaling and growing, that when a lot of hindrances come. Like I was saying for this person, example, right? So their auditor kept filing the annual returns. Everything is filed. It's not that it's not there. But it is just copy-paste of what was done last year. So the board meeting dates were just the same in the, MGT 7. What was there, they just changed the date from 22 to 23, but kept the same dates. And when we checked, there were so many resolutions, like bank resolutions, which were passed on a completely different date. Only the resolution was given, but it was not minuted, because mostly board meetings don't happen in small companies, right? And that's when, and what happens is the CFO also certifies the documents. And they're blindly doing this because the chartered accountant auditor says, okay, sign kar lo, we've just signed it, right? And that can cause a lot of issues. So my submission to everybody is that one is, of course, be very conscious of the legal compliances. It's really important, because you're as much as a financial, you have your responsibilities to ensure that the company functions financially well. Of course, my topic was board efficacy, but Robin has spoken a lot, and even Mr. Satya also spoke a lot about it. So I thought maybe I'll just highlight a few of these issues which we come across on a day-to-day basis with our clients, right? And especially the CFOs, they say, like the words, I don't know, right? So that's something which, when we say, but then you had a resolution passed, well, I don't know, maybe that, they just gave that resolution to the bank, but that doesn't happen, right? So you cannot say, I don't know, right? As rightly pointed out. So, and that can lead, because obviously your CEO is dependent on you, because you are doing multifunctional things, especially small companies. They don't generally have a legal or a company secretary, because it's not possible, when you're just a startup, right? So they try to, the CFO does all the functions, right? And they then depend upon the auditors, mostly the CAs, that who will also do this annual filings and everything, just to, save the cost, because obviously we understand that, but I think that you have to go a little more deeper, check the books, check the accounts, check the financials, and then make sure that at least the CEO is not signing something which is not correct, because that you have a responsibility towards the CEO, because they rely on you as a professional for, ensuring that the compliance is in place. So that would be, this is something which I feel, because as a KMP, we've also heard about frauds, we've heard about Satyam, we've talked about so many cases, we are talking about Byju's, where all the companies have gone. So as rightly said this, that I'm sure that, if proper financial management has happened, right? And main important thing is that I always tell my clients and also the CFOs that when cash is available, take it, whether you require it or not, right? So if today, like, there was a time when private equity was willing to give you funds, right? But you said, no, right now we don't need it probably, or maybe you are not happy with the valuations. The CEO may be expecting a much larger valuation, but as a professional, I think we need to advise that, valuations can always increase if we perform well and if we have cash reserves available. So, so that becomes an important, is what is the right thing and how do you give the advice? And obviously, we cannot, because of what happened, we've seen that high valuations, and today everybody is down under. And who gave these valuations? I'm sure that, CFOs were part of that and went along with the CEO. But I think that as professionals, it becomes our responsibility to ensure that we guide them properly. We make them understand that, maybe today you may dilute a little more. If not 20%, you may have to dilute 30%, but that balance 70% will give you returns of 100 times more than you would have diluted only 25%, because definitely you will add more value if you got the money on the right time, right? So similar today, somebody said that IPO is right now booming, right? There is market appetite for the market. So if you feel that, yes, we can, we are ready, we need the funds, if private equity is not available, why not look at alternative sources? But if money is available, people are willing to give the money, why not take it, right? So if you get the time and you have the cash, and that all is our role as a CFO to ensure that we give this kind of guidance to the management, to CEO, and, be proactive so that, we also contribute. And as rightly said, that CEOs today are the, right hand, or left hand of the CEO, and CEO expect a lot from the CFOs, right? So with that, I think I don't want to take much time. We have Mr. Amir also waiting. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I'm always there, and thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Rashida. Any questions, please? So I think Qcity has something interesting coming up soon. So I think I'll give it back to Ravi too.
I have a question. I think Rashida, I caught hold of that one line that you mentioned where he said that when cash is available, take it. That sounds like music to my ears. I'll probably, I'll probably come and discuss that with you separately. Why one should take it if cash is available? Yeah, that's concerning my business. Anyway, we'll keep that aside. But thank you so much for a very, very compelling session, Rashida. Now, for all the others, Qcity is organizing. So this is obviously part of their annual calendar. They've been doing it for a while, and this year as well, on the 24th of February, they're organizing a 5K run, and the theme is "Say No to Drugs." So it usually starts from the Qcity campus, goes all the way till Wipro Circle, goes a little ahead further, then people run back, and it's a very, very eventful day. It will happen early in the morning. So we have got a small little message coming in from Malti as well as Rajat. Can we play that video, please?
It is also an enemy for your mental well-being.
If you are getting addicted, it is not just self-destructive.
Just a moment, I think. Yeah, they downloaded the video right now. Just see if.
Some people use it for
I think that frame of Rajat was very good. So the computer decided that it will freeze it at that. Is it playing all right? Or we can come back to it after the next session. So Mala, you can take over from here. We've got one more session and then we'll play that video once that is over.
All right, Dr. Amir. Thank you for your patience. It's been waiting for so long. Okay. So his topic is Economic Strategic Roadmap. Dr. Amirullah Khan is a former civil servant, a development economist and professor at the MCR HRDI of the Government of Telangana. He is a research director at the Center for Policy Development and Practice. Dr. Khan is visiting professor at ISB, my college, ISPP, TISS and at NALSA.
Do I get a mic? Yeah, thank you. Oh, thanks so much. There is very little that Satya has not said already. So, I have, I'll preempt all of you and ask you some questions. And I really, I'm a die-hard, dyed-in-the-wool professor, so I expect answers. And I'll try and ensure that I don't give a 50-minute or a 2-hour lecture that I normally do. The first question I have is, what do you think is the single biggest cause for poverty in India? There are lots of poor people in India. Do you agree? What causes poverty? Anybody? Yeah? Say that illiteracy. All right. Yeah? That's good enough. Answer it. ESOPs. Vote banks, unemployment, yeah? Greed. This is all wrong, right? This is all wrong. These are all causes of poverty, but none of this is the single biggest cause of poverty in India. Loudly. Corruption, no. Population, certainly not. Unemployment, yeah? Unwillingness to work. Okay, we'll stop it here. The reason I asked this question is because I picked up that there are quite a few of you from the health sector here. In India, the single biggest cause of poverty is one episode of illness. 55 million people last year went into poverty because one of them fell ill. Oh, why do I say that? I'll come to that in a little bit. The second question, that what's India's per capita income? This is a tough question, so I'll answer it. India's per capita income now is around $2,200 a year, which is roughly less than 2 lakh rupees a year. What does it make us? It makes us 139th in the world. We keep talking about being the 5th largest economy. As India, we are the 5th largest. As Indians, we are 139th. What does it mean to all of you? What it means to all of you, and why I'm saying this to you as CFOs, is that India's growth, and I take off from what Satya very neatly described, India's growth as 7% might be great to talk about elsewhere, but in this room, it's very tepid growth. It's not growth that we are very, very happy with. And the reasons for that are two. One, 7% is not the highest that we have grown at. We've grown at 9 and 10%. Secondly, 7% growth is 3% less than 10%. So what? Why should we have 10% growth? Here is a simple number. Any growth that is less than 10%, for each 1% less than 10%, we lose 0.5% of jobs. Why do we have the highest unemployment ever right now in our country? Because we are not growing at 10%. So 10% growth is important. Can we grow at 10%? You bet we can. Why don't we grow at 10%? Number of issues. First issue, as CFOs, and these are just questions to you to think about. Do we get a lot of foreign investment in India? Yes or no? Yes? Look at the numbers. 2009, we got foreign investments of $43 billion. 2023, $56 billion. 43 out of 48 out of 800 billion GDP, 56 out of, or say 62 actually, out of 3.7 trillion. Why are foreign investors not investing in India? Where have they disappeared? The foreign institutional investment is investing, and then they run away, causing a 1,000-point loss every other day on the stock market. But why is the FDI not coming to India? Why is it going to Hong Kong? Why is it going to Cambodia? Why is it going to Vietnam? The last question that I want to ask you, which is relevant to you, is that is India's consumption story over? Now, what do I mean by that? We were consuming about $400 per capita per year 23 years ago, making us among the poorest countries in the world. But in the next 10 years, we jumped to 800. In the next 4 years, we jumped to 1200. 2012 was important because at $1,200 per capita per year, we become a middle income country. Till 1200 is low income. So we became a middle income country 12 years ago, 11 years ago. Then we jumped to about 1900. After that, we've started crawling. And at this 2200 or so, our per capita incomes have stopped growing, which means that the per capita consumption has stopped growing for the last 6-7 years. To give you what happened 6-7 years ago, there is a stop to our growth, which comes in the form of demonetization. After that, consumption stops growing. Why is it relevant to you? What happens when consumption or income stop growing and when food inflation is at its highest? Today, food inflation is at about 39%. What happens to a poor man's consumption basket or a poor woman's consumption basket when retail food inflation goes up and your income is stagnant? What do? Cut down other expenditure. What is the first expenditure you cut down? and think as the poor. You can't, but try. What's the first consumption that you cut when you are poor and you have to spend more money on food and on fuel? Fuel inflation has been the second highest. You know, the petrol going from 50 to 110 rupees in no time. Good answer. Slightly healthcare. You know, the consumption in India on healthcare and education has come down. And that's what explains empty schools, hospitals, some hospitals getting packed, most hospitals not getting enough. And that's dangerous for a country which is, 1,400 million people and wants to grow from being a 7% growth country to a 13% growth country. And that is the impact of these macro things. I'm an economics professor, therefore I'm telling you all this. The impact of this on each one of you is so very evident. And the reason for my last question is because of this impact. And my last question is, why have all of you stopped investing in India? Domestic investment in India slumped over the last 10 years. If you people are investing, you are investing abroad, or you are not investing at all. And that for a country like ours is not good news. Because we have to grow at about 13-14% real growth for the next 30 years if we want poverty to go. That was my first question. My professor 30 years ago, he came to class and he said that today I'm going to talk about poverty. In 1964, Suresh Tendulkar had come. Suresh Tendulkar is considered the father of studies on poverty. Suresh Tendulkar in 64 had said that 65% of India is poor, which means that 300 million in India are very poor. In 1993, my professor said that I had heard Tendulkar say this. Today I am telling you that 35% of India is poor and 300 million in India are very poor. 2024, I am telling you 18% of India is poor and 300 million in India are very poor. The bottom 140 million people poorer than anywhere in the world. If 300 million are poor, if 600 million people are barely above poverty, if 85% of the country earns less than 25,000 rupees a month, the last Niti Aayog data, and if 95% of the country earns less than 65,000 rupees a month, how much can you grow? How will you plot your growth charts if the income has stagnated? Everybody in this room, and I can take a fair guess, everybody in this room thinks that she is middle class. But everybody in this room is bloody rich, because each one of you I know earns more than 65,000 rupees a month. So if we are going to grow, if we are going to go from 2,200 per capita incomes to 5,000 or 6,000, that is Thailand and Indonesia and Philippines and Argentina, and I'm not talking about 57,000 in the US or 65,000 in Singapore or 95,000 in Switzerland, then we have to correct this consumption story. And if you have to draw your business plans, then you have to build this crawling spider into your calculations and ensure that we go back to growing at 10%. That is when jobs will come back. We have 24% unemployment among educated youth in the country. Nowhere else in the world, never in India. Imagine one out of 4 graduates doesn't have a job. 42% in Haryana. 9% unemployment overall, which means 60 million adults are unemployed. And that will get corrected only when we get to 10% growth. And that 10% growth is a function of how well we perform as a country, how well we perform as industry, and how well we perform particularly in the health and education sectors. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful. I was reminded of Dr. Shiv Kumar, who used to teach us sustainable development goals at ISB. You know, lot of overtones and lot of teaching and learning. Yeah, you know, I guess when you said, you know, so then he's highlighted a very, very important point on real growth. I mean, if salaries keep rising, no, that's not growth. We have to reckon inflation and so many other issues, and then the shocking number that we all are aware of, but we try to imagine that, like you rightly pointed out, 95% under 65,000. If you own a TV and you own a car, you got food to eat, you got shelter over your head, you're in the top 1% of the world. So I think we are all very, very privileged. Thank you so much for reminding us again. It was very well spoken. And if anyone has any questions.
Anyway, he's good to me. But sir, you have touched very, very good topic, that health conscious and all. So India, as an economist, I'm asking, not a CFO and all, India is giving so many freebies and all these things. And poverty also, you mentioned that because of health, they're cutting. So why not India, like other countries and all, they can't make it a medicine or a health is totally free. They should restrict the private sector. Then people will focus on other health.
Can we, if there is any other question, so I can quickly answer all. If there's only one, then we'll finish off with one. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I think there is one more. I'll give you the mic.
Just to add one more point to what sir said, so free education and health, free health. These are the two things that government should provide, and leave rest of the things minimal. That will solve this issue. I think.
Yeah. All right. So Amartya Sen got his Nobel Prize in the 90s, and in his Nobel Prize speech, that's exactly what he said. That he said everything else can be private sector led, but health and education have to be guaranteed by the state. It doesn't mean that there is no private sector. 80% of our healthcare comes from the private sector. 51% of education now comes from the private sector. So the private sector does have a very large role to play. The private sector, some of you here I know have developed innovative solutions to help the poor too, even in the private sector. So, but what happens is that the private sector will be compelled to provide solutions and products to the poor only if it has competition from the state, which does it otherwise. Today it does not have that competition. So therefore, every large hospital must charge 10 lakh rupees to everybody. That's the reason it is very important for us to remember that health and education are classic public goods. Everybody has a right to health and education. Even if my father can't afford it, I should have that right. If we settle that debate, unfortunately the political economy debate in India has gone off to these freebies. That we those of us who pay taxes, we have started believing that we pay taxes for ourselves. No, the whole philosophy of taxation is that you have a lot of money, pay taxes for somebody else. We think that I am the one paying taxes. What am I getting out of it? You are not going to get anything out of it. You've already got a lot. That's why we are taxing you. And and then these freebies. There was this debate on television. So somebody, that anchor asked me, a very famous anchor, let's talk about freebies. I said, I am out of this debate. I can't take part in this. He said, why, sir? Why can't you take part in this debate? I said, I am a product of freebies. I went to one of the finest engineering schools in the country, Osmania University's engineering college, which at that time was really good, at $2 a semester. I went around roaming in Hyderabad at a 21 rupee bus pass. That's why I am standing here. I can't say a freebie is good for me, bad for him. So we have to know that there are certain guarantees that the state must provide to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Before I toss it back to Mala for a quick wrap up, let's have a look at the 5K run video.
Not harm just your health, it is also an enemy for your mental well-being.
If you are getting addicted, it is not just self-destructing you, but destructing the entire society and the globe.
Why do we use drugs, or why do someone use drugs? Some people use it for pleasure, boredom, out of peer pressure, out of their anxiety. There is no proper magic medicine for drugs. As humans, we are the biggest target of drugs. But as humans, we are the only biggest cure of drugs. So it's the moral value, the human values, the friendship, that only can help anyone to get out of drug. If you know someone who is a drug addict, if you know someone who thinks that he can't stop himself from taking drug, give them the confidence that they can leave it. You make him believe or make her believe that your friendship is the biggest weapon against the drugs.
So let us all come together and say no to drugs.
Well, yeah, all of us will have to say no to drugs today, tomorrow, every day, and also on the 24th of February when we are having the Qcity 5K run. It will start at 6 o'clock in the morning over here. So if the CFOs, after worrying about money all your lives, if you want to kind of have some fresh air in the morning, we would love to have you as part of the 5K run. Do join us on the 24th of February. Apart from that, we would also like to thank Youth Force who have helped us organize this event. Youth Force is basically a volunteer-driven organization that started with various students from various colleges in Hyderabad. In 2015, they started with a team size of 8 volunteers. Today, they are a team size of 4,286 active volunteers spread across 86 engineering colleges, and their wings have expanded to 8 states and 3 countries. 26,85,456 beneficiaries who have benefited out of the noble initiatives taken by Youth Force, all thanks to their 4,286 volunteers. Can we quickly have their video, please? Youth Force, Naveen. Oh, we have someone who will speak on behalf of... A quick word from you, sir. Your good name?
Hari Prasad. Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank Malati Madam for giving Youth Force as an opportunity to present about our NGO in front of you. So first, my name is Hari Prasad. I work as a project manager for Cisco for 13 years. And from last 5 years, I'm participating in these NGO activities, and we collaborated with Youth Force. And I would like to present about our NGO today. Presentation, please. Yeah, as he said, started with 1 student from an engineering college, and then 8 students joined to the team. And today, we have 36,000 of volunteers in this Youth Force, so completely volunteer. So if we, and among that, the 4,000 students are completely dedicated to our work. Started? Not yet. Excuse me.
I think the financial experts are brilliant at finance and everything else, but yeah, they're terrible at technology. He shared a PDF file which will not play on the LED screen. Never mind, I think you'll be able to tell us more about it in your own sweet words.
Yeah, sure. How this Youth Force has formed. So one day we got a news that one of the student is very sick in Basava Tarak Rama Cancer Hospital. And then among the one student got an one of the students got a thought that, okay, hey, why don't we go there and cheer up that student? And basically the doctor said that that student might be live for 2 or 3 days. And then these students, with a couple of students, went there to the hospital, and they wear those clowns and like jokers and everything. So they made a fun in front of the student every day for like, then it went not only just 2 or 3 days, it went for 6 days. So that means that fun made that the student live for more days, right? So from that day, they got the one idea that, okay, hey, why don't we do some work like donate 1 rupee per day per student. So it started from one college. So 1 rupee a day per student, right? From that concept, from 1 to 8 students, and today we have 36,000 students. So in the first year, we collected almost 2 lakhs from the students, which they spent on their daily expenses, like they go to bakeries and movies or something like that. But from that expenses, we collected 1 day. So from that moment, we are, as I said, 36,000 students. and we have started working on different areas like education, health, livelihoods, and environment. So in the education, we are providing the scholarships to the poor students. As he said that education is very important for everyone to get better life, right? So we are providing the scholarships. Recently, we have conducted one in the government schools for the 10th class students. And then in the health, so we are conducting the health camps, blood camps, and also one important thing about our youth force is like in 2020 we know we have this pandemic, and during this corona, our police department has set up some the corona facilities, right? So for those corona patients, we have served food 6,000 patients every day for 64 days from our youth force. And for that, Mahesh Bhagwat sir, we have to thank him because he has given that opportunity, and he is our testimonial for that entire activity during the 2020 corona pandemic. So we are so proud for that we have served so many patients, and you know how difficult at that time was. And also for the livelihoods, we are supporting the farmers. Like so we have set up one stall also there. So we are encouraging the farmers to produce the organic produce, and we are helping them to sell. In that way, we are helping the farmers and also the unemployed youth, because they are helping. We are taking them for the packaging and supplying and all those activities. So we are planning to add more stores of the organic. So we have some samples over there. And then not but the least, the environment, of course. For the environment, again, we are, for the vegetables, we are not using any plastic, but for some, the plastic is required, but we are going to replace that plastic to the biodegradable plastic. So now you know the DRDL is already had a technology to produce that. So we are going to change that plastic to the biodegradable plastic for packing those produce. Okay, and you might be wonder how we are doing all these activities, right? So first thing, we are having the individual donations, like so many employees for the sake of tax benefits, they will be doing, right? So and we have a sustainable projects, like as I said, we are using this produce. From that profits, we are supporting these activities, and also we have some fundraising activities, like recently we have conducted Dandiya events and also New Year Eves. Such events we are conducting to get the money for all those activities. And the last one, but not it's the least. So we have some organizations supporting us using the CSR donations as well. So that's how we are sustaining till today. So it's been 9 years, and I said we have support. Our total beneficiaries are like 26 lakhs plus people. So thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking about Youth Force, and also thank you for the wonderful work that all of you have been doing with support of course, many volunteers, 4,000 plus. We wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just before we call it a wrap on this wonderful, very, very compelling session, we would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to a few of you who have been a significant part of this event. If I could call upon Malti and Rajat to get on stage, we would like to felicitate some of our speakers who joined us today. Of course, Robin Banerjee gave us the introductory session. He's not here. I'm presuming he's not there on Zoom, right? Robin Banerjee? He's not there. Is he there? Okay. Then we'll think about him in our hearts and give him that memento. Because obviously I would have taken him virtually otherwise. Robin is not there. Mr. Satyanarayana V, if you could join us on stage. Thank you so much for that wonderfully compelling session. Ladies and gentlemen, some more energy. We have got dinner waiting for you. Thank you. Rashida, for those magic words which are still ringing in my ears. I'll come and ask you more about it, Rashida. Thank you so much. Dr. Amirullah Khan, Thank you, sir. Very insightful session. Thank you very much. Next up, I would like to call upon Mr. Ramakant Tripathi for putting this together and making this happen. Everybody, please put your hands together for Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Ramakant Garu, please join us on stage. Next up, while Ramakant Garu receives his memento of appreciation, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to call upon Mala.
That, we give a standing ovation to Ramakant ji for all the kind of hard work that he has put to bring all of us together. So,
Another one to Mala for being a wonderful compare. We have another one. Please give it to her. Mala, you did a terrific job. I think you're some serious competition to me now. You're giving me a run for the money. Fabulous job done. Thank you very much. And very kind of Malti and Rajat to actually reserve one for me as well. So I would like to invite myself, Ravi from Guru Productions, for receiving a small little token of appreciation. Well, very, very sweet of them, but Qcity is like family to us. We have been with them, associated with them for almost 5-6 years now. With your permission, can I come on stage?
No, I'll have to speak little about you. I mean, while there is a lot, Ravi made this campus with more beautiful with all his events, and this is one of it. I mean, I think we just informed in a few days back, and he said, I'm going to be there for your events. And he's a big man. I mean, though we've seen the inauguration of Ambedkar statues both at Vijayawada and Vizag. The man behind Guru Productions, Ravi. Thank you so much, Ravi.
Now I'm forced not to charge anything for this event after so many compliments. Thank you. Thank you so much, Malti and Rajat. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be a part of this. Thank you.
Ravi, I must thank you for the name that your company carries. It is Guru. So Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Sakshat Maheshwara. Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So the mentors who are here and with whose direction, with whose mentorship today we are here. So this forum belongs to them, and obviously because of them only today we are here, and we will be carrying the flag with their advice, with their mentorship. And now today we are about 1,000 of CFOs across the country and across the globe that we have joined together to do our events, to share our knowledges ourselves without paying anything, and obviously not spending a lakh of rupees for the bodies who organize it. So thank you, Isaac sir, thank you, Govindarajan sir, and all other senior fraternity over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would also like to call upon, thank you so much for this. If you can have a quick picture. Thank you, James. Next up, I would like to call upon Vinil from the Youth Force for supporting us. Please join us on stage, Vinil. Another one for him. Thank you very much. And you guys are doing a wonderful job. Please keep up the good work. And before we all proceed for dinner, thank you, Vinil. Thank you, Malti. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you very much for allowing us to organize this in this wonderful campus. I would next up like to call upon Pramod Panda, sir, who's joining us virtually, I think. Yeah, he's there. He's there with us. He'll quickly give us a vote of thanks and call it a formal end to this wonderful event. उनके बारे में आप कुछ बताना चाहेंगे, रमाकांत साहब?
Yeah, so Mr. Pramod Panda, he was also a founding member. He's in the board of a couple of public sector banks. He's an ex-RBI, he's an economist and ex-RBI senior general manager kind of thing. And when we founded it, Govindrajan Saab and Isaac sir and all other seniors, he was there from the beginning, and presently he's out of, he'll be addressing us from Mumbai. He was also, motivating us all the times, to take it forward. He was directing us. So over to Pramod Panda sir. Hope you are there. He is also an independent director in different companies like Shipping Corporation of India and many other organizations. Over to Pramod Panda sir, who is also another founding member of this CFO group over there. Pramod Panda sir, over to you, please.
Thank you. Let me start by congratulating the CFO Forum and Qcity collaborating and putting up this grand show. It's really, I have sat through the entire program. It was so much, full of knowledge sharing and a lot to learn and a lot to take away. Compliments to all the organizers, particularly Ramakantji, आपने तो बहुत अच्छा काम कराया, and we will be looking forward to many such events across different other cities also in times to come. And this one is particularly a very important one. This particular topic related to CFOs, they particularly relating to the transformation part of it. While I thank everybody for joining in and making it a very big success, while going, I would just add one small layer to the extensive discussion that has taken place surrounding the transformation that finance as a function is witnessing, and also the redefined role of the CFOs. One particular part of it, which in a serendipitous manner is getting linked to the program, the mental health marathon or walkathon, which is being planned, is linking up with what I'm trying to say, is that as far as the CFOs are concerned, one particular thing has never been talked about very in an affirmative way or in a very serious way. That is the link between the CFO and the finance function of a company and the employee's mental health. Actually, the invisible enemy of the company's, any company's bottom line is the state of collective mental health of a particular company's employees as a whole. We are living in a neurotic society at the moment where many smart, tech-savvy, and very competent professionals might be suffering from a range of mental health disorders, starting from depression and anxiety to bipolar disorders, etc., which you would never realize are actually eating away into the very foundation of the financial efficiency and the employee productivity of the things. In very many ways, the physical health, as it is evident from different tests and other things, are understood and are appreciated. But what is unappreciated, which is not really properly appreciated, is the mental health of the companies. So in days to come, probably the CFOs must have to engage with the HR function to do an oversight on the state of mental health across the company. So this is what I just thought I would add, besides many other things which extensively were discussed from the perspective of risk, from the perspective of governance, technology, artificial intelligence. One more thing probably we didn't discuss is the blockchain technology, which is going to impact the finance function and the CFO's role in very many ways. So once again, thanks everybody, all who have joined today. They have been very patient in sitting through all the discussions and talks and presentations. It was really very enjoyable. Thanks everybody. Thanks Qcity. Thanks the CFO Forum and all those who.
Thank you, sir. Pramod Pandaji, thank you very much for joining us and calling it an official wrap. With that, yes, ladies and gentlemen, dinner has been waiting for us for a while now. So I think it's time for us to give dinner its due respect and have it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's all just step outside. Time for dinner and networking. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you, Malati. And yes, once you're done with dinner, if you still have a little bit of energy left, we would love to have all of you over here for a group photograph, if possible. Do you want to take it now? That's what Rajat, I think. Yeah, can we all assemble for a quick photograph? Since this is the inaugural session, it would be nice to carry a memory. So if I could request all of you to join us in the front for a quick photograph, and then we'll all proceed for dinner. Ramakanji, you'll have to